Welcome, friends and collectors. In this week's edition of Diecast Emporium Military Mondays, we are going to take a quick look at the M551 Sheridan light tank. In fact, this was the last of the light tanks used by the U.S. military. But before we learn a little bit more about that, we have to thank Small Scale Hobbies, who make Military Mondays possible on this channel. If you are into military scale models, cannot encourage you enough. Check out their website, smallscalehobbies.com. All right. The M551 Sheridan. So this is a really unusual piece of military history. It was designed as an armored reconnaissance airborne assault vehicle, and it had several requirements that it needed to fit. The two most important were that it needed to be air mobile, and it needed to be able to be dropped by a parachute, usually from an aircraft like a C-130 or even a helicopter. These were in service from 1967 all the way to 1997, although towards the end of that tenure they really didn't see a whole lot of action. So these would have been in the Vietnam War, Grenada, Panama, and then Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. They were designed by GM Cadillac in 1959 through 1965. A total of 1,662 M551s were built from 1966 to 1970. The total mass of the Sheridan is 33,600 pounds. It has a crew of 4, a commander, a gunner, a loader, and a driver. The main armament on the Sheridan is an M81E1 rifled 152 millimeter gun plus a 9 rounds of MGM-51 Shillelagh anti-tank missile, so kind of the predecessor to the TOW missile. And it was powered by a 300 horsepower Detroit diesel engine. When these first arrived in Vietnam, they really weren't all that well perceived or well liked. They were susceptible to mechanical breakdowns or getting bogged down and stuck in the dense Vietnamese jungle. They were also very susceptible to the booby traps that the Vietnamese would set up, as well as susceptible to taking RPG rounds because the armor was not very thick on these. That said, it was very, very successful in being a support vehicle to infantry units, a light support vehicle for infantry units. And at least in my opinion, I gotta say, I'd rather have one of these if I'm, a squad of troops in the jungle and we're taking contact, and I'd rather have a big gun able to be parachuted in if there's an LZ or a clearing than have nothing other than M60s and M16s to engage the enemy with. Now, these did see service in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Again, they were not that great, not that effective in terms of engaging the Iraqi armor, but again, most of the airborne units used these, specifically the 82nd Airborne. So if you go online or you watch some historical film or you learn about it, you research it, you will see some Sheridans painted in tan, and those were the ones that were used by the airborne units in the Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. So the model that you see in front of you, this is a 1/87 scale plastic kit by Roco Minitanks. This is an older one, about 15 years old or so, maybe a little bit more, when these models came fully assembled. Now you can buy this as a kit, but I have done absolutely nothing to this up to and including the paint and decals. This is completely factory stock. I do plan on doing a lot more to this when I get a little bit more time, but as you can see, it looks quite good, and it is configured as an early Sheridan in a Vietnam configuration. I do like the fact that you can open up the hatch up on top. You can also close it, obviously, if you want to. There's your main gun. You do have some other accessories that are on it. You can spin this 360 degrees if you want. There is some casted-in detail in the back, such as an entrenching tool. I believe there's even an axe somewhere on here that I saw. Lights on the front. So it is actually a very nice casting, and as with all of these mini tanks, these Roco mini tanks, if you have some time and you have some paint pens, you can really bring these models to life, perhaps add an antenna or two, and then obviously put your secondary armament on here with a 50 cal machine gun on top of it, and you can put that in this hole up on top here. You can see that right here. So that will conclude this week's episode of Diecast Emporium Military Mondays. As always, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and share it with your friends. Popping up on your screen right about now will be a playlist of the other models featured in the Diecast Emporium Military Mondays series, so be sure to check out some of those as well. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you next time.